Okay, so today I'm on my way to Best Buy to get a new camera, a new mirrorless, I guess it's not a DSLR, it's a mirrorless full-frame camera. This is what I've been working with for the last 6 years. It's a Nikon D5100 with the Nikkor 40mm 1.28 lens. So that's what I've been working with. It's been a great powerhouse for my job, for what I do. And long story short, it has over 309,000 shutters on it. So I'll put a picture up right now just to show you that's true. So what we're doing is we're going to Best Buy, and I'm deciding between the A7 III or the Nikon Z6. So that's where we're headed right now. We're going to go check those out, and we're going to come back with one of the two, and then we're going to do an unboxing. So if that interests you, stay tuned. I'm also going to tell you why I chose the camera that I chose. You're welcome. Okay, so like I told you guys, I got the Sony A7 Mark III. I don't know if they even say Mark III anymore, but I got the A7 III. So, and I also got another memory card. This is 150 megabits a second, so it's a little bit faster. And then I got this protector for the lens. So let's go ahead and get on with the unboxing. So we're just gonna go ahead and open this bad boy up. This is the kit, so it should come with the lens. We have instruction manuals in, I believe, 3 different languages. Pretty thick. We open that up, and we have a nice little strap, which I'm gonna probably be using. This looks to be a lens and some sort of lens ring. So this is a nice bubble wrap. So here's the lens. I believe this just goes on here and twists on like so. So that's the lens cover, and then this undo that, and you can put it in the camera. And in this section we have, oh, it's hiding down here. So you have, it looks like, we have a USB, not USB-C, just a regular USB to, I'm not sure what that jack is. We have the battery. It's a pretty beefy battery. Got some good weight to it. So there's the battery. And this is, looks like, the plug for the wall. And then I believe you just plug this into the camera. That's how you charge it. I'm surprised it's not USB-C, but it's not. So then this is the actual body. Oh, it's got some nice weight to it. And you take this off and put the lens on. So that is what's in the box. Okay, so this is why I chose the Sony over the Nikon. One of the main factors for me was the memory card. So right now I have probably 10 to 20 SD cards, and I spent a fair bit of money on them over the years. So I didn't really want to switch to the new QXD card. I think that's what they call it. It's a little bit faster read-write speed, but I'm not really going to be taking pictures with this in burst, and that's really what you need those for, is when you're taking, you know, like 10 pictures per second in the burst speed, so it doesn't have a really big buffer. I do have the Extreme card in here by SanDisk, and that does 150 megabits per second, which is more than enough for bursts. And then the other cards I have, like this one right here, I don't know if it's focusing. This is 128 gig, 90 megabits a second, which is fine for 4K video. My other camera right here, the Sony AX53, this does 4K at 100 megabits a second, and I've been using these cards and it turns out fine. So this camera does the same record setting as far as 4K, 100 megabits per second at 4K 30. So I'm not worried about these cards not working in there. And again, the Nikon only had 1 card slot, while the Sony has 2 card slots, which is, to me, that's a pretty cool feature, especially if you're in the field and you do the simultaneous recording onto each card. That way, if one card fails, you have a backup. The second reason is Sony's been in the game longer, and I feel like Nikon's first mirrorless camera, they got a lot of bugs they're going to work out. So I would rather go with the Sony and know that most of the bugs are completely gone than go with a camera that possibly has some bugs they don't know about, and you're filming for a client and something happens. For most of the research I've done, the video quality on the Sony is a little bit better than the Nikon because Sony's been in the game much longer in the mirrorless game, so that's another plus. The Nikon did have the option to record 10-bit 4K externally or 12-bit, I can't remember, but that's not something that I'm not going to do because most of my videos are going on YouTube, so I don't really need that super high bit video. So, you know, like this when I'm recording it now, it's perfectly fine for YouTube because, as you know, whatever you record, YouTube compresses it down when you upload it. So most of the video that you do, you don't have to have HDR or super high, you know, whatever. So that's another reason I went with Sony. The Sony, the layout, the buttons, I think the buttons are a little bit more optimal for what I was doing. I know I did have a Nikon, or I do have a Nikon D5100 that I use for pictures at my work, and you know, the camera's still working, so for my pictures I'll probably still use that. For this is mainly I got it for video. If I was just using the camera for pictures, I would have gone with a Nikon, because the Nikon does do a little bit better picture wise. So again, this is going to be more of just a video camera for me, and that's another reason I went with the Sony, because Sony makes most of the parts for most of these mirrorless systems anyway. Like the chips and everything, the sensors are made by Sony. So why wouldn't you go with a Sony camera with Sony's parts rather than another camera that has some Sony parts in it? I know it's probably not that big of a deal, and again, it wasn't. But the main deciding factor for this was the memory cards. So that's something to think about, because you not only do you have to buy the memory card, you have to buy another way to get the memory card to your computer, so you have to buy a separate card reader. So it's just something I didn't feel like investing in right away. And again, this camera, I'm probably gonna have it for 2 years, maybe less. We'll see. I'm really excited to see what happens when they come out and they announce the A7S III. That is something that's in the back of my mind, so be on the lookout for that. I'm starting to ramble, so we're gonna go ahead and cut this video short. So again, I went with the Sony A7 III. I'm filming right now on the Sony A7 III. The video before was filmed on an Osmo Pocket and a GoPro 7. So if you like this video, please like it, share it, subscribe. I'm going to be doing a lot of videos on this camera, and I'm going to be picking up some lenses and doing some reviews on the lenses. Right now I'm filming on the kit lens, and yes, I did go with the kit. So why did I get the camera with the kit lens opposed to just getting the body and buying a different lens that could potentially be a little better? Well, the reason I did that is because I'm not familiar with this camera, and the people and all the research I've done saying this lens is not bad. It's still a $400 lens if you get it separate. So with the camera and the lens, it was only $200 essentially instead of $400. So it gives me time to play with the camera, get used to it, and then I can figure out what lens I want to do for video, because there's so many different choices now. They probably make 30 or 40 different lenses for it, and each one does something different. So depending on what I really need to do video wise, that will steer me towards what lens to get, because the lenses are very expensive. They're anywhere between $600 to $2,500. I think I even saw a lens for $4,500. So I obviously won't be getting that one, because I think that's more for like nature shots when you're filming the Serengeti and you're like 200 yards away from the animal. You got to zoom in. But yeah, so before I start rambling too much, please hit the thumbs up and hit the bell notification. And if there's any videos you want to see me do, just let me know and I'll try to make it happen. System for life. Peace and you're welcome.